What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dad's Expensive Hobby.
What's up?
Today we are taking a look at these SH Figuarts True Power Zarbon from Dragonball Z. This is one of my favorite sub-villains of all time from Dragonball Z. Like I said in my regular Zarbon video I did, if you didn't see it, check it out. And it's from my favorite Dragonball Z saga from the Namek saga. I love that one. But anyways, I'm excited to have him. He's a premium Bandai, so he was a little bit expensive, but hopefully he lives up to it. Let's look at his package really quick because this thing is enormous. A nice big window on the front with some window on the top to let plenty of light in, but this picture right here is kind of creeping over into the window, you know, the shoulder and the arm. It's kind of blocking him a little bit. Not that big a deal, but I might have made a different choice. And of course some stuff on the side and typical SH Figuarts stuff on the back. But anyways, that's enough about this package. Let's get him out of the package and take a closer look at him. All right. So far, he looks pretty cool, but then again, I love Zarbon. But let's get him measured up really quick, and then we'll dive right into him. To the top of his head, he is 7 inches, which makes him taller than the other one. And that would make him altogether about 17.5 centimeters, give or take. And I guess that's going to be okay. I feel like he was a little bit taller, but they scale the big guys down in the SH Figuarts world. Let's look at his aesthetic, and let's just go ahead and tackle this right now. He looks quite squatty.
Fuck.
He looks quite squatty. Those legs are way too short. Let's just be honest. Unless somebody can find me an image of him with legs that disproportionate, his legs are a little too short. And I feel like his waist is a little too wide. He's a little too squatty and a little too portly. But other than that, he is a good looking figure. He's got a really cool design. He kind of looks like a knuckle dragger a little bit here with like those arms longer than his legs and stuff. But we'll compare him to the other Zarbon here in just a minute. But other than that, he looks really cool. His sculpt, like in his arms, the musculature and shit, look really good. And these his head sculpt and face plates look awesome. And other than the fact that his legs are short and squatty, they kind of remind me of it's been a minute since I've watched that saga, but I remember like he just got really weird overinflated calves and stuff. And I think they nailed that, but I feel like the legs are a little too short. Maybe the hips and waist are just a little too long, in my opinion. Just like the other figure, he's basically just colored plastic, but I like that decision they made because the other Zarbon is basically just colored plastic with a little bit of paint, and that would make this one look weird if all of a sudden they added a lot of shading and detail and panel lining. Just for a transformation figure. I don't think that the continuity would stay there. So even though I wish this had more paint on it, just like the other one, I feel like it would be a little more premium. I like that decision because it would like I said, the continuity. So anyways, let's dive into his face sculpt really quick. That looks really, really, really good. I think they nailed these face plates. He kind of always had kind of a crocodile kind of look, at least in my opinion, and they really nailed that, and the face looks really nice. Now the hair. This hair doesn't have as much of that black wash in it as the other one did, but it still does have a little bit. You can see it there, a little bit in the back, and it's quite prominent in the part down the middle. So that's good. I was hoping that they would recreate that at least. It still needs some dry brush or something on it, but anyways. Shoulder pads look good, nice matte finish on them, and a satin to matte finish everywhere else on the figure, and it looks pretty good. I like it. This just has a cool look to it. And we're going to look at his cape real quick. Even though it didn't come connected to him in the package, so I'm considering it an accessory, I put it on him because the other one always has his cape on too. And it looks good. It's a lot bigger than the other one, obviously, because he's a bigger figure. But the sculpt on it looks good. Of course, it needs paint, but it still looks pretty cool, and it still functions the way the other one did. So I don't have a big issue with that. And back here, the paint that's done on the armor looks really good. So overall, his aesthetic looks good other than his proportions for his legs. And I know that's going to bother a lot of people. In some ways it bothers me, but in some ways it doesn't. But he does look a little, like I said, squatty. just no other word that I have in my vocabulary for it. But again, I still think he looks cool personally, but objectively there is some issues there. Let's take a look at his accessories really quick, because he comes with some really nice accessories, but I still feel like he might be missing a thing or two. But he comes with one head sculpt, obviously, but he comes with 4 face plates, and you've already taken a look at this one. It looks really nice. Let's stand him up here. He's quite top heavy, not gonna lie there, but all you gotta do is that. He also comes with this really nice looking open mouth, yelling face, wide eyes. They did a good job with those eyelashes up there. The head jewel, of course, looks really good. And this open mouth head sculpt has the tongue kind of coming out, and I think they nailed that. That looks super good. He also has another open mouth yelling face, but the tongue is still in the mouth and the eyes are a little squinty, you know? And that looks whoops. Super good. I really like it. I think that looks awesome. And a kind of like grinning, teeth gritting, cheesing kind of face right here. And this one looks good as well. I like the open mouth faces a little bit better, but this one is still done fantastically. He comes with, 2, 4, 6, 8 hands. The fist hands on him in the package, and they look pretty good. Thumbnail is painted well, so that's not bad right there. It comes with these 2 kind of style pose hands, and the fingernails are done very well, and this is sculpted so well. I really like it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, all the hands, right, like where the wrist wrap, I guess you would say, is down onto the hand, that is painted, and they all look really good. No screw-ups at all there, so I really like it. Comes with 2 wide open hands, and they are sculpted really well. Fingernails are done really well. I like it. I like the bits of detail with the weird bumps or whatever on his skin that he gets when he transforms. Looks really good. And he comes with these 2 like these knife hand kind of energy blast type hands, and they're sculpted really well. Nice details in them, and all the fingernails are painted really well. So I like those a lot. He also comes with, just like the last one, 2 ponytail options, and this one has a little bit of that wash in it, very little I should say, and it's just the one that kind of supposed to hang straight down, and I'll connect it to him here in a second. And one that's kind of like wispy or windblown or whatever, and it's got a little bit of that black wash in it, and it looks pretty good itself. So short of a flight stand or an energy blast, which, you know, an $85 figure in my opinion should have an energy blast. There we go, got that connected, and of course that articulates, but we'll look at that more here in a minute. But that is it for his accessories. I think that's a pretty decent spread, but for $85 I do feel like we should have gotten more, like I said, like a flight stand or something. Oh, and I do consider it an accessory. He has the same kind of cape that just plugs into the back and articulates up and down how you want. I like the sculpt of it. It's a same kind of hard plastic as the other Zarbon. Let's stand him next to, speaking of the other Zarbon, so that I can make a point about the legs. I'm gonna move this arm back for a second. This new one is he is significantly taller than the other one, but if you look here, his legs are shorter. What the hell is that? That's kind of weird to me. Somebody tell me down in the comments if it's supposed to be like that. I don't think it is, but I think that's kind of weird. But they look pretty good. They matched all the colors up really nicely, especially for this one came out 3 or 4 years ago at least, and so they married the colors up really well and the look. So I like it. Here he is next to the old style battle clothes Vegeta, and they look pretty good next to each other. And just because I like getting Goku out, here he is next to the Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku, and he's taller like he is supposed to be, and I like that pretty darn well. And let's see who else I got. Oh yeah, here he is next to First Form Frieza, and he towers over him like everybody does, but that looks pretty cool. And just for fun, let's see how tall he is next to the Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat Reptile, and Reptile's still a little bit taller. That's what I'm saying. I feel like Zarbon here, at least the True Power one, should be a little bit taller, but they look good next to each other. And I like handling this Ken figure, so here he is next to the Storm Arena Street Fighter Alpha 3 Ken, and they look pretty good. I think that is good for comparisons. Let's move into his articulation, because this one's got some interesting things going on. Let's not start with the head. We'll do the head here in a minute. But if you remember in my regular Zarbon video, I mentioned I hope that they have different type of shoulder pads, because that Zarbon figure had that hinge at the top, and apparently they heard me in spirit, because this has that newer type where it has that little ball hinge there in the back where they can kind of rotate out. So I like that. That makes me pretty happy. And also, it's an interesting little feature here. You can actually take the shoulder pads off, like completely, and I think that's neat, and that is so you can port in and out this cape, which I'm going to remove the cape for the remainder of the articulation portion here. And I might just go ahead and leave these off just so I can show you other things. But I think that's cool that the entire shoulder pads can come off. But anyways, let's talk about his head. First and foremost, I want to show you. His head comes in the package kind of compressed down into the figure, but it kind of telescopes out, if you can see that. And I think that's going to be very similar technology to that new Goku that we get here towards the end of the year, that new full power Goku, that Cell Games Begins or whatever it's called, that one that everybody's lost their mind over. I think that's going to be some similar technology in the neck for him. So if you can see that, it'll go up and down, and I think that's pretty cool because that gives you a lot of movement out of that neck joint. So I like that a lot. And his head will look down pretty good. It'll actually look up fairly good, and you can nuance it all around. And this is actually the first time I've taken it off, but let's see bear with me a second here, what kind of neck joint he's on. Bear with me a second. Goodness gracious. And it's on like a double hinge kind of deal. Do you see that right there? It's a hinge there and a hinge there that kind of allows the head to kind of telescope up and down into the neck. And then it's a ball peg connected right up there, and you get enough range out of it. You're not going to get super crazy range because his head is so wide, you know, the hair sculpt is. But that doesn't look too bad. I don't have a problem with that. That's an interesting neck joint. I don't think there's been any other SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z figures anyway that have had that neck setup. So that's, sorry, something was on the hair. Kind of interesting. I like that. Let's move out to his shoulders. Plenty of range in the shoulders. Even if the shoulder pads were on there the way they designed, they would move out of the way. So he's got tons of range in the shoulder. Now he does have a very similar butterfly to the other one, and it will bring the arms across the body pretty good. And I like that because the armor is more or less like a vest that he's wearing. So the piece that would be exposed when you do this would be this color. So I like that pretty darn well. Not too bad. And of course, you know, you can get the 360. It's just a hinge on a ball peg in there that connects to this part right here that I'm touching, like hinges out, I guess you would say. And I like that pretty well. Bicep swivel, that bicep swivels. He's got a double jointed elbow. Surprising amount of range for a big ass arm like that. The elbow, some people might not like that look. I think it looks good enough. It's not too bad. It's not the worst elbow we've ever seen. And the wrist is on a ball hinge, and I think that looks pretty good. Now, waist. He's got a diaphragm joint. Here is neutral. He crunches forward pretty decent. I like that. Back to neutral. And he'll lean back. Not so much, just barely a little bit, to be quite honest. But the back part of the Saiyan armor is sculpted down pretty far, so it kind of runs out of room. But again, no gapping, so whatever they're doing with this one, they have fixed the Saiyan armor gap issue. And you get some twist, obviously, up here at the diaphragm break and some lean and stuff. There is a ball peg down in here that you get some twist and a little additional lean out of it. But you know, you're not going to curl him up in a ball, but he's not really made to do that. Legs. What?
We have a problem.
Oh, I just popped him apart. Don't freak out. It's not a big deal. It's just a little ball peg. They come out to there about the same range as the other Zarbon. So not the best, not the worst. We're going to move on. He does not much of a front kick, worse than a Hulk figure, but what are you going to do? And he's got some big old Zarbon booty there, but the way it's designed, the leg will kick out to the side just a little bit and go back, so you can do a little bit of fat Zarbon splits, so that's kind of cool. Thigh swivel that is hidden by the pants leg, I guess you'll call it here, so I like that. Now here's something that might bug people. The knee has got okay range, it's past 90, but that.
What is that?
That knee, the way they've done that, where it kind of comes out of the shin right there, that aesthetically might bug some people. It doesn't bother me because I get the look they were kind of going for, but it's still, I can see that bothering people. So if that bothers you, I totally get it. You know, the legs aren't the most aesthetic portion of this figure anyway, but the double jointed knee does work. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the proportion seems a little short on the lower leg. If you can see that, the foot doesn't quite come up to the butt cheeks. It's just a little shy of it, but you know, is what it is. Ankle is a ball hinge all into of itself, and here is neutral. It'll come up a little, go down a little, and it has a little bit of rocker, very similar to the other figure. And he has a toe hinge that looks like shit. It's kind of loose, it's too far back, and it just looks like crap. It's not flush or anything, and I hate it. But anyways, articulation-wise, he does move. There are some limitations, not gonna lie, but overall, he moves pretty decent, especially for a disproportionately chunky figure. He moves pretty decent. What would my final thoughts be and final verdict for this figure? He is expensive at $85, and then, you know, taxes and shipping. So roughly a $100 figure. For that, he's a little light on accessories. Not much paint, but neither was the other one. So honestly, I'm going to give this figure, I want to give him a C+. He is above average because he has such a cool look, and he does move pretty well for a big chunky figure. But there's no real revelations here other than that telescoping neck, and you can like remove the shoulder pads or whatever. The shoulders do move good. The head does move good. Decent ab crunch. But the legs don't move any better, and the aesthetic of the legs. C+, I feel like, is pretty generous. But that's really all I've got for this figure. He's expensive if you've got the money for him, and you're trying to complete a Namek Saga display or whatever. Yeah, you're going to want to have him, but you don't need this figure at all. But anyway, that's all I've got for True Power Zarbon here. If you haven't subscribed, pause the video, scroll down, give us a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And with all that said, this has been Dad with Dad's Expensive Hobby, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.